Monday Night Raw starts off with Roman Reigns. He was about to cut a promo, but then you get Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman interrupt. Paul Heyman and Bronson Reed basically ends up saying that nobody has done the amount of damage and put Roman in so much pain by putting him on a stretcher to where he couldn't walk out the ring. And they end up basically saying that he's Bronson Reed, the only wrestler that ever made Roman Reigns got put on a stretcher. Roman then responds. He basically ends up wanting a match, of course. Bronson ends up tries to go towards the ring. Paul Heyman stops him. Roman responds back, ends up saying that it doesn't matter where we have the match, no matter what, because I am always going to be better than you and that I am always going to be your tribal chief. Then Paul Heyman ends up agreeing to a match at Crown Jewel, and it's going to be a street fight, a match that apparently Bronson Reed has never lost. Then Roman ends up calling them bitches. Bronson Reed gets in the ring. They brawl with Roman Reigns standing tall to a degree by hitting two Superman punches. Now, Bronson Reed wasn't laid flat on the ground. He was still standing, but the brawl was still technically run by Roman. But I like what they did here. Now, my only thing is, if Bronson Reed has never lost a street fight, apparently, why did you have him win the first match? Why did you have Roman win the first match? I don't understand that logic, because if you were just going to have Roman win their first match, wouldn't it make more sense if Roman beat him now instead of beating him before? I don't know. I feel like it's backwards, if that makes sense, because I feel like Roman is going to win twice here. I don't see the point of giving Bronson Reed his win back, in my opinion. I feel like it made more sense for Bronson Reed to win the first match. That way he could keep up with the Tribal Thief gimmick, but you made him lose the first match. Now I don't see the reason for getting his win back, in my opinion. So that's the thing that's confusing me. I feel like it would have made more sense if you have Bronson Reed won their first match, then he'll lose this one that will make it feel more important, because Bronson Reed was coming off the W off of Roman, and he's facing in a match that he's never lost. It would have made more sense to make Roman win this match. Lost the first one, but he won the first one. So I don't see the reason why Bronson would win this one. I just don't see it from a storyline perspective. Why would they have Roman lose here? I don't know. Maybe they will have Roman lose, but I just don't see a world where Roman lose if it's going to be a street fight. But no, who knows how this plays out. I like the overall segment. It was good. It was enjoyable. It makes the match a lot more entertaining, because I was like, really, we're about to do Bronson Reed and Roman again? But making it a street fight definitely makes it a lot more entertaining. So very interested to see how that match plays out. Now we end up getting a Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupree match. This match was really fun, really exciting, and very shocking. You have Becky Lynch being the heel, constantly, taunting Maxine Dupree, playing around with her, but Maxine Dupree ends up getting the upper hand. Now, it was a moment in this match, it was multiple moments in this match where I was like, why is Maxine Dupree actually about to win this match with a pinfall? But you end up getting a moment where Becky Lynch constantly gets in the face of the referee. Then she's on the outside, and she's constantly taunting the fans. And the referee is counting. Maxine Dupree gets in the ring, and then the referee all of a sudden counts extremely fast. She counts extremely fast when Maxine gets in the ring, and Maxine won by countout, which I like and I don't like. Now, I will say this. I like what they're doing here, and I think it could be very interesting, especially if the plan is for Maxine to win. Now, they need to build this up a bit more. That's the only problem I really have with this, because I like the way she won, but I also don't like that she won. Mainly due to the fact that you guys have not built Maxine at all. You guys have kept her on TV for months. So that's my only problem. If they continue to build her up, continue to actually have her, showcase herself, it wouldn't be as a problem. But you can't just have someone disappear for months and then all of a sudden you want to have them win against Becky Lynch. That's my only issue. But overall, I really did enjoy this. Now, there was a moment in this match as well. Becky Lynch used the Prime bottle as a weapon and she didn't get disqualified. Like, WWE, you got to be consistent with your rules. Can we use weapons or not? Because on one hand, we can use the Prime bottle and it still stabs, but apparently Drew McIntyre can't Claymore a guy through a table. Like, I don't understand. Like, make up your mind on what's allowed and what's not. Also, are they going to mention that the referee counted extremely fast when Maxine got in the ring? Because commentary didn't say shit about that. That was confusing to me, because I felt like I was losing my mind. Because I swear, the moment that she got in the ring, Maxine, all of a sudden, the referee started counting extremely fast. She was counting slow as hell at first, but the moment Maxine got in the ring, she counted fast. But Becky Lynch didn't mention it. Commentary didn't say anything about it. So I'm a bit confused by that. Maybe I'm tripping, but I like what they're doing here. This could be a very good storyline if they continue to build this storyline up. If they continue to build this storyline, I really like it, because I've been saying that I want a new person, a person that a person that could benefit from beating Becky Lynch to dethrone her. So if they could build this up for a couple months, make her win around Royal Rumble season, I like it. I think this has a lot of potential. Now we get CM Punk. CM Punk was cutting a promo. He basically ends up mentioning the World Heavyweight Championship, how he's going to get it back, he's going to earn an opportunity, and win the championship again. Then you get LA Knight. He basically ends up talking and saying that he believes it's his time now. He was the last guy to beat Seth Rollins in a one-on-one match. Ends up mentioning how CM Punk constantly gets pinned by Seth Rollins, and he ends up saying that he never got pinned by Seth Rollins. He ends up saying that he never got pinned by Seth Rollins. They was going back and forth, and Punk ends up making a good line because he was ended up saying, because LA Knight was asking CM Punk, who has CM Punk has never pinned, and Punk ends up responding the same guy who has never won a world title, which I thought was really good. Then you end up getting Jey Uso. He comes out, basically makes his case, ends up saying that he never got his rematch clause against Seth Rollins, and that he's up next, and that he got his shot at Seth Rollins next. Then you get LA Knight. He ends up talking to Jey Uso, ends up saying that Jey Uso needs to stick to being a tag team and stop sucking at being a tag team. Jey Uso then super kicks LA Knight. CM Punk is on the microphone, and he basically ends up saying that, look, he understands Jay's passion, Jay's hunger, but he needs to wait in line for him and get to the back of the line. And then he ends up saying that he likes Jey Uso, and he agrees that Jey Uso should stick to being a tag team for now. But then he ends up saying that he likes Jey Uso, but he doesn't like Lil Roman. Jey Uso, of course, gets frustrated, tries to attack Punk. Jimmy Uso was out there trying to, break it, try to make peace of the situation. Then we end up getting a moment where he's constantly splitting them up. But he's not allowing Jay to attack, but CM Punk ends up actually being able to attack Jay. Then Jimmy Uso ends up seeing it, of course, feeling kind of bad. So he ends up, of course, sticking up for his brother and super kicks CM Punk. This leads to the main event, which is the Usos versus Punk and LA Knight. I'm not gonna really speak about the main event. The Punk and LA Knight won. This is mainly just to progress the story of really Jey Uso, him becoming more of a heelish character, because later in the show we end up getting a bunch of segments between them and the Bloodline where Roman ended up mentioning, why is it such a bad thing that he's taking advice from me, and then he ends up also telling Jimmy that that he needs to just stay out of Jey Uso's way. I like the story that they're doing here. It looks like we're getting another Bloodline story, which I like, with possibly Jey Uso and Roman being on the same page, and kind of, I wouldn't say similar to what it was in the Thunderdome, but I could definitely see a situation like that to a degree, but a little different. But I like what they're doing here. I like the story that they're telling with Jey Uso. I really do. Hopefully they don't stretch it out and just constantly overdo it. But I like the story that they're telling here of Jey Uso getting this new persona, acting more like Roman Reigns, and Jimmy not really liking him. I really like the story that they're telling here. Very interested to see how this plays out and what's the actual end goal here. Because you can go a lot of ways. You can go Jay turning on Jimmy, Jimmy turning on Jay, Roman turning on Jay, Jay turning on Roman. Like, there's a lot of ways you could go about this. What does Sammy think about all of this? Like, you could go a lot of ways with this. Really enjoyed this story. Really enjoy what they're doing here. I can't wait to see what they do next. We end up getting Io Sky versus Kairi Sane. Asuka ended up setting up this match. Kairi Sane didn't want to face Io Sky, but of course Asuka forces her. Asuka ended up slapping her in a backstage segment. Really good match. You end up getting Kairi Sane picking up the victory after due to the help of Asuka. Afterwards, Asuka and Kairi ended up attacking Io Sky. There was no Rhea Ripley on the show. I'm pretty sure they probably explained why she wasn't on the show. I just don't remember why she wasn't on the show, but I like it. Makes the Kabuki Warriors stand tall before Crown Jewel. Now, that is concerning because I feel like they should be winning at Crown Jewel, not losing, if you want to build the Kabuki Warriors as a threat to Io and Rhea Ripley. But we'll see how the match plays out at Crown Jewel. But overall, I like it. I've been liking this storyline, the over-the-top acting between Io Sky and Kairi. It's a fun little, it's very ridiculous, but it is a very enjoyable storyline. It's one of the better things in WWE right now. So I like what they did here. I'm enjoying the storyline. Can't wait to see what happens. We end up getting Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. I really enjoyed this match. Gave me flashbacks of back of NXT. So we end up getting Roxanne Perez picking up the victory. She won cleanly. It was interferences, of course, between Raquel, Bailey was on the ringside. Roxanne picked the victory, which I am very happy about because she always fucking loses. So I'm glad that she was able to get a victory. She wins. After the match, though, you get Bailey, and she ends up going psycho, and she's very frustrated, very mad, and she ends up start pulling Lyra to go after the Judgment Day. So later in the show, we end up getting a segment where they're all just brawling. You end up getting Bailey and Lyra attacking the Judgment Day. They're going back and forth, and then Adam Pearce has to separate them. I like what they're doing. I like what they're doing here. Now, I will say we are getting a bit repetitive with the matches with this whole thing, but if this turns into an actual feud between like a tag team type thing, I'm cool with it. With Bailey being this psycho character with split personalities, I actually enjoy it. So I'm interested to see what happens next because it does make this a lot more interesting. Because before it was just a bunch of just random matches between the Judgment Day. So if they actually make this into like a feud, I'm actually down for it. So I'm curious to see what happens. Now, the last thing I do want to mention is the Seth Rollins segment between him and Paul Heyman. Seth keeps on mentioning what happens if he loses to Cody, and Paul Heyman is trying to be all positive, like, you're not going to lose, you are going to win, but Seth is trying to have a real conversation with him, and Paul actually gets serious. He ends up saying that if you do lose, then you lose the trust of the Bronze, of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, you lose the trust of the locker room, and you get exposed for being a wannabe champion when you're just number 2. Then Seth Rollins asks what is the deal between him and Paul Heyman ends up saying that he would start questioning why did he choose him over Roman Reigns. I like what they did here. I like this. I like what they're saying, what would happen with Seth Rollins, what is at stake with Seth Rollins, why he needs to win this match. I like this. I like it. This was a really good segment. Overall, this was a really good Raw, which I was very shocked by because typically Raw has been it's been a decent show, just a lot of repetitiveness, but this was a really good Raw. Really enjoyed it. You guys let me know your overall thoughts, opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.